Welcome back, everybody, to our The Challenge podcast. As we talk both seasons of The Challenge happening at the same time. I still don't understand why that's happening, but it is. How did you feel about the shows this week, Dazed?
Uh, I liked the All Stars episode. I was kind of heartbroken with the Double Agents episode, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, kind of. I know what you're talking about. We'll get there. We're going to start with All Stars, though.
Um, I mean, I'm loving this season. I really am. Again, I'm loving the music. I'm loving the challenges. I'm loving seeing all these old challengers back. Like, especially like we get to see some of the flashback clips to some of the old days, and these are scenes that I've watched over and over on YouTube just because they're iconic moments on the show. So I'm really liking it. Really liking it.
Yeah, me too. And like I said last week, for some reason, it just feels like a whole different vibe to me. I don't know why. I don't know if it's
Oh
because
yeah.
they're older, or if it's just because they're old players, but it's a different vibe.
I Is it a different vibe or is it something that we've been wanting to see for a while now? Like getting back to what it used to be. And even though they're older, I mean, these are the personalities that we grew up watching, that we enjoyed watching, and it's just nice to have them back. I mean, it seems like the feuds are still there, the friendships are still there, even though it's been 10, 15 years. I mean, it's good to see some of these people back. And I think they're just generally better personalities than what we see on the challenge these days.
Yeah, I'm sure nostalgia plays a big part. On our wrestling podcast, Van Guy and I like to talk about nostalgia because I think that plays a big part in some of our thoughts. But I do also think that it's just you're right. It's the personalities are different. Some of these people, like the Big Brother influence on the Jones, has getting old. I think.
Yeah, I know you like to shit on Big Brother, but I do kind of have to agree with you on this. And I mean, again, I think it's just the challenges become so athleticized. I don't know if that's a word, but I mean, yes, the challenges they're still doing on All Stars are pretty athletic challenges, but it feels like it's normal people doing it. Like they're kind of our age. They're more kind of fit like we are, which is a lack of fitness to say. So I feel like I'm able to connect more with the people I'm watching on the show.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I guess the big figure of this episode was kind of Trishelle, really. She has basically the main story. We have her apologizing to Anissa for the way that ended, and then we have the whole storyline with a Katie. How did you feel about Trishelle in this episode?
First off, I thought it was big of Trishelle to have that talk with Anissa. I think it's important these days to have those conversations. But Trishelle overall, I mean, she's still her drunken self that gets into fights and causes drama. Nothing has changed with her. Like she said, she's used to sitting by the pool drinking cocktails. Like that's her life. Uh, More so than that, we didn't talk about Katie last episode. She wasn't on your list of those that we talked about, but she's one of the mainstays on the show, like big personalities. And it looks like she's grown a lot. I mean, that temper is still there, and I'm sure we're gonna see her, let it loose. But I agree with her. It looks like her and Trishelle have completely grown apart, taken different routes in life, and I'm kind of over Trishelle. I'm happy the way the episode turned out.
I was never on board with Trishelle, so I guess I've always been over Trishelle. But I do agree with you about Katie. I do think her age has definitely made her more mature. Finally, I guess.
She's still a badass too. Like seeing her bleed in a challenge is nothing new for us to see.
True.
I'm glad they got her on there because she's one of those hardcore competitors. Whether she knows she's going to be able to complete a challenge or not, she's going to give it her all. I'm glad to see her on there.
How did you feel about the trivia daily? I thought it was entertaining. I mean, it was all about the challenge, But I mean,
Yeah.
my one thing is like, of course Anissa wins because she's been on like 72 fucking seasons of the challenge.
I mean, you can say that. Ruthie hasn't been on, a
Yeah, that was
million
more impressive
challenge
to me.
shows. But I think these are folks that generally, like the challenge. They enjoyed competing in it back in their olden days. And they still keep up with a lot of these folks, with the exception of the newer cats. Like these people generally had good connections, although they fought all the time. But so I think it's kind of easy for them to remember it. But the challenge itself, I love Trivia Day, and given that it was all about the challenge trivia, I loved it even more. I love TJ during the challenge or during the trivia challenges because he just cracks me up. But going into this, I was like, you know what? You either have to have a good memory regarding the challenge, or you have to be lightweight. Like if you're over 100 pounds, you're not gonna be standing on that second circle or X or whatever. You're gonna fall straight through. So I enjoyed it. I was surprised at how much everybody actually remembered, because half of those questions I wouldn't have gotten right, even though I've watched a shitload of the
Yeah, me
challenge.
either. That's why I thought Ruthie and Tech were the most impressive because they haven't been on these
Yeah.
shows in forever.
You know what? You have to assume that there's going to be a trivia challenge. I'm wondering if some of them didn't like study before they came on the show,
Or
just to
maybe they went on CBS All Access, I guess now Paramount Plus, and watched the old seasons, I guess maybe.
I mean, that's a lot of seasons. I mean, really, all you have to do is go on Wikipedia and see who won each challenge and whatnot. So
How did you feel about Kendall not wanting to complete the fall through? I didn't
uh,
really understand why.
I mean, like Tex said, whether you win or not, just jump off the side into the water. Like that's the whole fun of the challenge, right? Like, are you worried about getting wet? Did you just do your hair that morning? I mean, what was the deal? I mean, she used the excuse of not hitting her face, which, to be fair, we saw Katie do that not minutes before, so that could be a good excuse, I guess. But I like seeing people follow through on challenges, whether you win or lose.
Yeah, I guess that was her excuse. She didn't want to hit her face, but she seems like a tough competitor, so I didn't really understand why she didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, especially this early in the season, you've got to have it in your mind that anything you do can be used against you when you really have no other reason to throw somebody into elimination. So just not finishing the challenge or sitting down was enough excuse for everybody else to pile on and throw you in, regardless.
Yep, and that is exactly what happened. I guess we should talk about Nehemiah also won for the guys.
Dude, he's got a good shot of winning this. Like he's physically fit. Apparently his memory is really good. He's also pretty intelligent, and he knows how to play the political game. I mean, if you're not looking at him right away saying we got to get this guy out, then you're not playing the challenge.
Yeah, he might be the favorite. I know we think Darrell's the favorite because it's Darrell, but
But really, really, any of the guys that are physically fit, still in really good shape, are smart and can play some type of political game, they're going to go far. And I just want to point out they had a shot of Derek in one of the opening scenes. That dude is looking thick. He has gotten ripped and put on some muscle mass. So watch out for him. You don't want to go into an elimination with that dude. He's straight pit bull mode right now.
yeah, there's a lot of guys that are heavy contenders, which is why I want to ask a question about the final. But before we get there, how did you feel about the elimination?
Um, I mean, Trishelle and Kendall, I didn't have high hopes for it. I thought it was just going to be a complete bust. There was something that I noticed right off the bat with it being a women's elimination. I think the strategy should have been, go up to the top and drop down and pull all the rope with you and just do that over and over again. Because if you drop down at the top, you have to jump up, pull yourself up, and get out and pull the rope with you.
Yeah.
Once you have to do it backwards. And I thought that was a missed opportunity for both. I think if Trishelle would have done that, she would have had a better chance at beating Kendall. I forgot who said it, but Kendall she's fit and she's strong. Given she weighs like maybe 90 pounds soaking wet, but she's going to be difficult to beat in eliminations.
I mean, I feel like she's the most physically fit woman because we got people that are new moms on this cast. We got people who have had a lot of kids on this cast. There's just a lot of out of shape women on this cast right now. So I just feel like she's the heavy favorite of the women.
Yeah, with the women, if you're not physically fit, you better be a scrapper and willing to compete and never give up, or else you're going to be out quicker, But the elimination, I mean, it was good. Like I said, I was kind of disappointed. It could have been better. I think if the men were in there, it would have been a lot more crazier. But I was definitely happy to see Kendall win. I liked Kendall in earlier seasons. And I was happy to see Trishelle go because she's just a hot mess and don't feel like watching her, honestly.
My last question for All Stars, since there's going to be one winner, how are they going to do this final? Because I feel like it's going to heavily favor the guys if they keep doing all this physical stuff that the challenge has become.
I mean, if the final is like we see in the challenge these days, absolutely, it's going to favor the guys. It's going to favor Derek, Darrell, Nehemiah. I don't see a lot of women on here that would have a shot at beating any of the men in a final. So yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I don't know how that's going to pan out. Maybe there'll be some twists and turns throughout the season.
Yeah, I just don't know. I feel like it's going to have to be a lot of other things in there rather than just physical.
I mean, a lot more puzzles. You definitely won't be able to do like a 20-mile marathon like we've been seeing in the latest challenges. So it'll be interesting. I mean, maybe they switch it up halfway through the season and make it a partners game. Who knows?
That's true. Well, any final thoughts on All Stars?
No, kind of. I'm excited for next week's episode. We get to see the Meltaway Challenge, which
You've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have the old school challenges without competitions like that. So I'm excited to see that back. It's really taken me back to the earlier days. I'm excited for it. And that's really it. I think we'll have some more drama coming up soon, which I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I really thought Trishelle was going to be the one that we saw in the preview that seemed like they were quitting. So I don't know who that's going to be.
Let's look at the list. It was a woman, right?
They didn't really show if it was a woman or not. I was just assuming it was her because she's done it before.
I mean, it looked like Ruthie might have been getting into some heated drama. I could see Ruthie leaving. I'm hoping she's not off the wagon. I know she, that's the reason why she left one of her challenges earlier on, was because she was having mental issues dealing with sobriety and whatnot. So hopefully that's not the case.
I'm hoping it's not her because I do really like her.
I mean, it could be Katie. It could be Katie. She was talking about, seeing her kids and whatnot and seeing her family. So that could be it. I don't see anybody else. I mean, maybe Beth, maybe Arissa.
I have doubts. I don't know. Maybe.
I just don't know. Maybe it ends up being Kendall.
Yeah, it could be if she didn't want to complete that first challenge.
Yep.
Well, on to Double Agents. You said it broke your heart. Why did it break your heart?
Man, I love Kyle. You can't help but like the dude. And he's just grown on me so much, especially after breaking away from the whole Cara Maria and what's his name? Can't even remember his name.
From Big Brother, Polly.
Yeah, Polly Calafleur or whatever. Kyle's story arc has gotten so much better without them, so I'm glad to see that.
He had a very redeeming season because I was over him at the beginning of the season, and I think he definitely redeemed himself from last season.
I love seeing him in a final because once again, that dude has no quits in him. He's never going to give up. He's going to give it everything he's got. And I actually do like to see him and Nanny together as partners. I think they're funny. They're enjoyable to watch. So sad to see them broken apart.
Did you have any thoughts on this daily?
Yes and no. At first, I was like, "Oh shit, is this the final?" Because TJ woke them up at 5:30 in the morning, and then I realized, looking back at the last preview, that no, this is an actual daily competition. But I think the guys got it wrong. You know, all the guys wanted to sit out, and this was really their opportunity to, you know, they would have smoked anybody in this challenge just running. But I mean, it was okay. I felt bad for Amber. I mean, those math problems weren't that difficult. I mean, yeah, maybe if it's a 3-digit times a 2-digit number, then you gotta, write some shit out. But with it being a single digit, you can literally get the first two numbers and then just work out the combination. It's only a 4-digit combination.
You need your strategy.
Hey, you know what? If it works, it works. But I was yelling at my screen. I was like, Amber, there is snow on the ground. If you need to draw on something, use your finger in the snow or even the dirt. And she's sitting here drawing invisible numbers on the table. Like, I just didn't get it. So I don't have high hopes for her in the final. She's going to have a rough go at it for sure.
Yeah. The only good thing, I guess, is her new partner.
Who is that? Fessy?
CT. Well, after this episode.
Oh, CT. Yeah. CT will, as long as she can keep up with the running, CT will dominate the puzzles and whatnot. But, it's interesting because once again, this is the second mini final that we've seen in this season, which makes me believe this might actually be the most brutal final we've seen. And that says a lot given that they had to trek through miles of snow on mountains last time. But that terrain in Iceland that looks pretty brutal. And given that preview, it looks like we might lose one of the favorites early on in the final, Casey.
Yeah, this is why I think she's a fucking idiot, though, anyway. Why does she want to be with Fessy in the final? Just because they have an alliance? Her and Lyra were dominating.
I
think she's another bad Big Brother winner. We give a lot of shit to Josh, but it's not like Casey's some good fucking winner. She did nothing her season. She was furniture.
Oh, I agree. I think Tyler should have won that season for sure. But I mean, maybe they are close friends. Like her, Josh, and Fessy are pretty close. I would not want to run a final with Fessy. I mean, he's gonna gas out. He's gonna leave you. You're gonna get left. You're gonna have to leave him behind.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And especially if she's getting hurt, I don't think she's gonna be doing well in this final either.
Yeah, she's gonna pull a Nicole and snap her ankle on a rock. It looks like, which sucks for her, but you made a dumb move with switching partners. So
I guess the big story was, I don't know if it was even a story. I don't understand why Kyle thought he wasn't going to go in. That didn't make any sense to me.
So, I mean, Kyle, say what you want about him, but the dude, yes, he's a snake, but he holds his friendships in high regard. If he's close to you and you kind of have a friendship, I really think that he expects you not to turn on him. But this is the challenge. Everybody's going to turn on you. There's no way that Cam would have went through with that, and it just wasn't going to happen. Go back to your snake ways, Kyle. I mean, just play a ruthless game. If it gets you to the final, you have a good shot at winning a final. So get yourself there. Don't put all your trust in these people because they're going to turn on you. You're playing for $1 million fucking dollars.
And speaking of snapping, he snapped his finger in the elimination with Fessy. Any thoughts on
Let's
that?
let's talk about Fessy first because he trucked the shit out of Kyle. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to, looking back, you know, we picture him and Nelson in the hall brawl, and he had to play dirty and whatnot. He really put a hit on Kyle. I mean, he knocked his ass back and just ran over him to the point that Kyle said, "Fuck this, I'm done."
Yeah, Fessy must have been pretty upset that everybody gave him shit about the last one, as they should have, because he had to play dirty to beat Nelson.
I mean, even TJ said, "Let's keep it clean, play fair." But I'd be more upset with the way that this whole episode portrayed him because it made Fessy look like a big old crybaby.
Yes, he is.
Which he deserves it. He deserves it. You're right. He deserves it. But I mean, props to Kyle for even trying. I mean, that's a big dude you're going up against. Dude wanted to even. I think they should have let him finish it out. I mean, it was just a finger. Like, how would that have stopped him?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think he would have probably still got murdered in that one because it wasn't looking good for him.
But you know, I completely forgot that this was going to happen because I said earlier on in our podcast at the beginning of the season that we were going to see Kyle in a hall brawl because one of the previews had him putting on pads and a helmet, and it just completely split my mind when they walked into the crater and I saw the two walls. I was like, "Fuck yes, another hall brawl," and realized what was about to go down. And I just wish we got to see, you know, a 5-game series instead of just one. You know, I wish we could have seen that play out. But I'm sad to see Kyle go. Sad to see him go down like that. You never want to see anybody go out with an injury, but I think they should have let him finish that out.
Well, these are our new teams. These are the teams for the final. We got the only one still together after this is Cam and Corey, who are probably the slight favorites. And then we got Leroy and Nany. Then we got Amber B and CT. And then we got Casey and Fessy.
Yeah, Casey and Fessy are without a doubt long shots to win. I don't think they have a lot of good chance of winning. And when you say Cam and Corey, that slight favorite, it's a very, very, very slight favorite. Because Amber, she's going to be able to run. She's got some gas in the tank, and CT can never count him out. Plus, he's good with puzzles. And then Nany and Leroy, I mean, Nany's going to slip behind when it comes to running. But you can never count her out either, especially with Leroy by her side.
I mean, them winning would be the best story, but I kind of don't see it happening because Nany ain't going to win.
Yeah, I think we all thought Leroy was going to pull this one out, but maybe this entire season has been setting him up to fail in the end. Just it being his last season, he's not going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, so I do think, and especially with CT's edit, it's either going to be CT and Amber B somehow or Cam and Corey.
Yeah, I'm thinking CT. I mean, it's just the edit has been pointing that direction. I wouldn't mind seeing CT win. It's big on Amber's resume as a rookie to win. It is going to be disappointing to see Leroy lose if that's the case. But I mean, he played a good season. I mean, this is going to be a tough final. I mean, it's pretty stacked. You have some of the most athletic folks in this final, and some pretty intelligent people in there too. I mean, it's anybody's game at this point, with the exception of Fessy. Fuck Fessy, I don't want to see him win.
He ain't winning.
I mean, especially after that whole speech at the deliberation. Like, give me a break. That was the biggest cringe of the season.
It was. Well, any final thoughts on Double Agents?
Man, I'm ready for it to be over. I'm just disappointed with the entire season. I'm glad that All Stars has started so that I actually have, a challenge worth watching. It just
The
needs to end
season
on.
feels like it's been forever. Feels like we've
Oh
been doing
yeah.
this since Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you thoroughly enjoy watching something, like I thought about this last night during our Big Brother podcast. I was like, this season is flying by, but we actually enjoy watching it and see what's happening. Whereas Double Agents, it's been a complete drag the entire season.
It has. It really
So
has been stressed out.
at least I haven't stopped watching it like I did with Big Brother All Stars. Like I completely
Well,
gave
it's not.
up
It's
on
not
the
that bad, at least. Like it's boring, but it ain't bad. Like Big Brother All Stars was.
Yeah, I mean, we have people to root for, and
Yeah.
that's the most I can say about it. So,
All right. Well, that is all for our challenge talk this week. We'll be back next week with one more double episode, I guess, and then after that, it will just be All Stars. You could also check out the online battle, which is our challenge-like game. Now
it's more entertaining than Double Agents, I promise.
even though the episodes might be just as long. But all right, I'll see everybody next time.